Better Together podcast.
Welcome to the Better Together podcast from the Fuquay-Varina Chamber of Commerce. We're recording today from the Dashmore Conference Room and Studio, sponsored by Woodward Rehab. The Better Together podcast highlights local businesses each week as the Fuquay-Varina Chamber of Commerce continues to promote an amazing business community we have here. I'm Marty Woodward from Woodward Rehab, and I'm joined by my co-host, the one, the only, Brad Marshall from Greater Culture CrossFit here in Fuquay-Varina. We have two interesting business names that it's hard to get out, isn't it, Brad?
We had to do a little bit of warming up before we started the podcast here, but thanks so much, Marty. Really excited today for the inaugural, the first episode, and we have Dustin Williams, who is the president of the Chamber of Commerce here in Fuquay-Varina. And we're really excited, one, about the podcast, but two, to hear a little bit more from you, Dustin, about what the Chamber of Commerce is all about, what people can expect, and hear a little bit more about your story. So our first question, the Chamber of Commerce is a unique business, and to find yourself as a president of it, what either inspired you or led you to want to be the president of the Chamber of Commerce here in Fuquay?
Yeah, well, first, thanks for having me. We got a lot of business names going back and forth, and we'll get it down. But thanks for having me. Pretty much what inspired me to get into the Chamber is I had no idea what the Chamber of Commerce was. I think I might have been like 31, 32, and so I had a mentor who was like, yeah, you probably should get involved with your local community a little bit more. And I'm like, go to the Chamber of Commerce, like, what do they do? And then I finally was able to be a chamber ambassador. So I was actually invited from another chamber to be an ambassador there. And I took the gig and volunteered as my business and did that. And that's when I really learned, okay, this place is actually pretty fun. It's not just coffee and golf tournaments. So you'll hear me say that during this interview, that we're more than coffee and golf tournaments. We're actually a really great organization. So that's kind of how I got into it. I got into it as a volunteer, really.
Really?
Yeah.
And so as you transitioned then from volunteer and found your way to being the president, obviously there's probably some challenges or things you faced making that transition. So talk to us a little bit about what it was like going from learning about what the Chamber is, you're a volunteer, and now you find yourself as the president of the Chamber for Fuquay-Varina. What was that like?
Yeah, so it's like taking over the Chamber here in Fuquay. It's been fun because it's basically almost like reinventing this a little bit, where I still have friends, people that I see go, what do you do again? Like, do you just cut ribbons? So now we're moving on from coffee and golf to do you just cut ribbons? So we do cut a lot of ribbons, actually. But I think some of the challenges that when I took over and still face today, which is why you see so much on social media and why we're doing podcasts and more video and things, is trying to let people know what a Chamber of Commerce is. So that's kind of the challenge that both of y'all face as business owners, and probably people watching right now, is always trying to figure out what the value is, what we're doing, who are the people, who are the volunteers. So trying to explain that right now. And then also like what's next. I'm also always hearing like, what you got planned for the future? And right now it's like, it's year by year, continue to plant the seeds of what we're doing and grow from there. But it's really that the brand identity and that marketing in the community like you guys do for your businesses right now.
Yeah, and we know that there's a lot of small local businesses here in Fuquay, and you've mentioned a couple times now, people don't always know what it is that you get a chance to do as a Chamber of Commerce. So whether you want to look at it as the unique aspects to the Fuquay-Varina Chamber of Commerce or just in general, how do you describe to people what it is that the Chamber of Commerce does and what you get to do in your role as president?
Yeah, so one of the first things that we still battle, Christy and I still battle this right now, the Chamber's not just for the CEO, business owner, it's also for their staff. So we're really trying to lean in right now to, okay, we have events, man, y'all do a lot, which is great, but then how do I get the dose? We're really trying to lean into, okay, you may have 6 or 7 folks, let's get them involved. It doesn't always have to be you. Yeah, I would love to see Marty and Brad at all of our events, but who else can we have go to it? Other things that we're kind of looking at is some of the intangibles with the Chamber. So often you'll hear with the Chamber, are y'all just a networking thing? Do you just drink coffee and have like this breakfast thing? Like, there's a lot of things we do, but I think the big intangible that we're doing a lot of is being involved with the community. Big piece with that is education and being involved with the local schools or principals, letting folks know like, hey, like you're in the business side, but also does the community actually actually know who you are. So making it a good mix of being involved with our networking things to also be involved with our schools. And then I think lastly, like we're doing a great program called Launch Fuquay-Varina right now, and they're looking for business mentors. So we're in our third year of that program right now. So I often tell people like, oh yeah, like networking's not my thing, where I'm like, well, be a mentor, volunteer at an event. Try to think of a way to plug yourself into our community besides just always marketing and branding your business. Sometimes that'll organically grow from those intangibles that we do. So
that's awesome, Dustin. And you talk about all the sort of intangibles that people do. So are there like maybe there's a top 5 of what are the maybe top 5 services that the chamber provides to a business owner or a business in general?
Yeah, I think like some of the top 5 would probably be this consistency. So like that word you'll hear a lot with the chamber's consistency. So really just that marketing and branding through ribbon cuttings that we do. If you're at a breakfast or after hours, you're able to kind of get your name and get your brand and get that out there, but also that relationship. So we're also that relationship connector and that as well. And then also just continuing to figure out ways that how can I help the business continue to grow? And then it's like, okay, well, how do I get them out of their business and out and about, which is really tough, especially if you're short-staffed, you're a small business owner, and maybe you're just one person, still trying to figure out ways to help that business owner or that staff get out and be visually seen. So there's just a lot of different things that we try to put folks in front of. But I always tell people we're kind of like a connector piece where we're going to connect and we're going to set it up. We can't do it for you, but we're going to try our best that every single week there's no way that you can't get your business to grow if you just lean into doing one thing a week, one thing a month. I mean, there's a lot of ways to do it.
And one of the newest things is being a guest on our podcast, the Better Together podcast.
Boom.
So we'll be working on that here soon, and you'll hear a lot more about that. So check us out. So there's a lot of great chambers of commerce in the state, in the region. What makes the Fuquay-Varina Chamber better?
Well, there's a lot of things, but I think the thing that makes us really stand out is, I'll say the word again, I think most people will look for the value of a chamber. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. So one, if you join the chamber, there's a fee attached to that. So we don't hide that. There's a fee with it, but you're going to get that and more if you plug in. So you often hear the saying, like, you get what you get, or you get what you plug into or what you put into. But it's a little bit different than that here. I think what we're building here is like I'm trying to get these success stories, these partnerships, these things are happening out in front of people so they can see that it's not fake. It's actually real relationships. It's genuine relationships. It's community involvement and getting that out there. And then it's also building the large ecosystem. So you'll hear me say we're the fastest growing chamber in North Carolina, which we are. But the reason we say that is that I'd rather go to a party that has 300 people than 3 people. Now, there could be 3 quality people there at that party, and that would be great. It's going to be hard to find 300 quality people at a party, but the analogy I use is your odds are much better to find 30 quality people when you go to a party of 300. So that's why I'm stressing other folks to come to our events, not just the owners. We have this big ecosystem here that I use the term ecosystem of there's so many people to plug into and use here. There's no way that you can't grow your business through the relationships that we formed here. So that's what's really making us stand out, in my opinion, is we have so many things every single week. The relationships are flowing. Just dive in, get in there, and just meet somebody, and then build that relationship.
So there is so much community involvement by the Chamber of Commerce here in Fuquay-Varina. Drop some names. What are some things that the chamber's involved with that people maybe wouldn't recognize that you're involved with?
Yeah, I mean, the first one would be Leadership Fuquay-Varina. So that's actually in its 11th year. So we actually have a program that is open to our community. So anyone can do that. We actually have staff from the town, staff from different businesses that are there. But different business owners can learn what it means to be a leader. So leadership development skills. That's a lot of things that people wouldn't think with a chamber. And like, if we can build up our leaders, then they're better staff for you and your company. So that's a feather in our cap. I know not all municipalities have leadership Fuquay-Varina or a leadership program, and we do. Second one I mentioned earlier today was Launch Fuquay. So we're in our third cohort of that, and that's a great partnership with Wake Tech, and then our Rotary clubs, Fuquay Co-working, and other local business leaders. So the launch program is giving entrepreneurs a chance to advertise, grow their business, learn how to use QuickBooks, or just learn how to network. So there's all these things that they're learning where people go, oh, well, they should know how to do that. Well, as we all know in this room, you don't have it all together. And so launch is a way to get that program to it. And then the last one is something you're going to see more of with our chamber is education and workforce development. So I went to a 4-year school, UNCW, shout out, go Seahawks. Went to a 4-year school, but that's not everybody's plan. I barely made it, to be honest with you. I barely got to a 4-year school because I couldn't take the SAT, couldn't figure that test out. But there are people right now that are in school. How do we get them with these larger companies and smaller companies that are looking for staff? How do they know that, hey, like once you graduate from high school, there's a plan for you? So you're going to see more endeavors like that. We just had a great one with Burke-Tech Leviton that do micro cables and fiber optic cables for companies. And you just need a 3-month certification for that, and you get a job right out of high school. That did not exist for me, and I'm not that old, everybody. So we're providing workforce development here at the chamber, and I can't say that all chambers do that too. So,
yeah, and amazing some of the things you just acknowledged around the chamber growing as one of the fastest ones in the state, the amount of partnerships. You'd think you'd been in this position for a long, long time, but let folks know, how long have you been the president of the Fuquay Chamber now?
Yeah, so here only just a little over 2 years, and then I was with the Garner Chamber for about 2 years. So really only about 4 years and what I call the chamber industry, but 4 years in this world, but 2 here, and we've done a lot of great stuff, but it's just beginning. And I think the more we work together, which is why it's called the Better Together podcast, I think it's starting to take off where people see the chamber as a place where it's not really competing against each other or squashing someone. It's also a place where people can come and learn from each other and make partnerships, because we all can be fed here, is what I like to tell people. We're about to double in size, so plenty of room here for businesses to come and be involved with us right now.
Yeah, and I'm sure over those 2 years, you've seen things, had some ideas, some that maybe went well, some that didn't. But with any business owner, there's a lot of learning and lessons that come about. So in those 2 years, what would you say are some of the biggest lessons that you've learned that have helped the chamber to be successful and to grow at the pace that it has?
Yes, first one would be what we battle with every day, and I mentioned earlier in the podcast, to show and provide value. So sometimes I'll say, well, it's only $300 to join the chamber. That's still actual money. And we think about the economy right now, it's still actual money. But for us, it's like there is value here, but we're trying to figure out, are we providing the right kind of value? Are we really showing that? And so that's why we have these programs and things there. So that's the challenge that we face every day. And I think it's a challenge that most business owners face, is when you, at the end of the week, you go, hey, did we do a good job? Like, is this something that we think people are going to buy again or come to again? That's always through our head. Another one is just kind of listen more than I speak. So I speak a ton. I always have to be in front of people, but it's also listening to seeing what are the community needs, what are business needs. Many people come through our doors here asking to join the chamber. And so instead of me leading with, well, we do X, Y, and Z, it's also like, what is your journey? What are you trying to get out of this membership with the chamber, and kind of meeting them at that point. And then, also this is focusing on the business community right now. So we are literally, I mentioned this earlier, we're literally about to double in size as a population here in Fuquay. So then that means the business community changes. So I'm also leaning into what I call our 2, 3, 4 decades of service in the community, to let them know, yeah, they know what you do, but they don't, because they're people that move here and they may not know what services you provide. So we're trying to meet our new members that we love, but also our existing members. Are they understanding they need to keep it fresh, and they need to get their word out? So those are some of the challenges that are all in my brain.
Yeah, and I think a lot of entrepreneurs and business owners can relate to those of, are you providing value that people find and want to come back to you as, whatever that client might be? Are you listening more than you're speaking? Are you forward thinking? So I think those tips are really helpful for all entrepreneurs and business owners. I know there's also some things you're probably excited about that get you revved up and fired up to keep showing up for work. So are there any projects or anything coming up for you that you're really excited about and want to dive into?
Yeah, I think that one of the biggest ones would be at the end of the year. We have an awards gala. It's been a while since the chamber actually had an awards gala. So for me, we do a lot of promotion of our chamber through our social media. Like, this is how many members we have. It's kind of about us a lot. And so now we get to turn the table and be about you, the business. And so every year moving forward, end of the year, we get to celebrate business owners through awards. And I'm excited about that because we have to showcase and highlight. And again, kind of tell that why and kind of get the name out about why you should join the chamber and who are the businesses that are at the chamber. That's one of the biggest ones I'm excited for. And then also, I'm just most excited that every year runs around, more people know who we are, even though we're on Main Street. That people go, I had no idea what you did. If I could answer that question every year and make like 3 or 4 people happy, then that's a successful year too.
Well, with all the construction we've had here recently, a lot more cars are stopping right here in front of you, and they get a chance to look right next door and say, "Oh, there's that building. I know what's going on."
Yeah, they're stopping to use their bathroom some, but yeah.
So, speaking of stops, Dustin. So, besides the hanging out at the chamber, because you like to hang out here a lot.
Oh yeah, yeah.
What are your other local favorite spots to go?
Oh, man.
I know you don't want to pick.
I don't want.
There's some local spots that you like.
Well, I have to admit, I mean, and the owner knows, Vicious Fishes. I know we have many restaurants. Sorry, everybody, but it was during COVID. So before I worked at the chamber, during COVID, we ate at Vicious Fishes so much that, and we're creatures of habit, that we would go through that side door. So you had the main entrance, and then to the right, they would see me coming out, and I didn't even really have to say my name because I was getting burgers and chicken sandwiches at a pretty high level over there. So Vicious Fishes is where you'll find me hanging out. I'm not a big coffee drinker, but my wife is, and so you'll find Cultivates is one of her hot spots. So, and then kid-wise, like my kids don't eat many things, but man, they love queso. So you will find us at every Mexican restaurant around here, from Fiesta Time. I mean, they're loving the area of tons of different options, and so that's what I tell people. Like as Fuquay grows, lean into, we do have options, and it's not just, and no knock on Hardee's or Wendy's from back, but we actually have more options than that, and so it's nice. It's nice to actually have
we
this.
have so many great local businesses. I know I put you on the spot on that one, but let's kind of go back to in your career, what's the best business advice you've ever received? Can you think of anything?
Yeah, I mean, and yeah, I've stressed this a lot through the social media and through just how I do my things. Is I still, end of the day, and I guess I kind of lean into this one, Marty, with your question. I lean into this as like, why the chamber, why should do this? It comes down to people do business with people they know, like, and trust. Like that is the old school business motto. And often I'll hear, Fuquay-Varina, it's not the same. Like, we lost that small town growth. Well, I mean, yeah, it's not as small as it used to be, so I can't hide that. But we are growing, and at the end of the day, there's great people that are here. There's great people that are moving here. You get to know them, you'll understand that they're all real human beings. But at the end of the day, I will not use you on my roof of my house, work on my car, whatever the situation is, unless I know you and like you. And that's the thing too that we're really trying to help our businesses here is where they go, well, how do you know if someone likes you? Well, a lot of times if they know you and then you actually get to talk to them and see that they're a real human being, and then hopefully this podcast will help too, kind of uncover and unpeel some layers. End of the day, like, they're going to do business with you and not just go, I guess I'll use that person. We don't want people guessing. We want people knowing because they built a relationship, and it came maybe through the chamber.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So, is there one surprising fact, or maybe a couple surprising fact about the Fuquay-Varina Chamber of Commerce that you can share with everyone?
Yeah, so my dad's funny. The other day he was like, how many, and I guess he's kind of like a stat data person, which he's not really, but it was interesting. This is a great question to ask. It's like, what percentage of businesses in Fuquay-Varina, not Anger, Apex or Garner or whatever, in Fuquay-Varina are actually members of the chamber here? I'm like, I never really completely dived into that. I think about it. But it would shock people to think that we don't even have probably 40 to 45% of the businesses in Fuquay-Varina that are actual members of the chamber. So one thing, if you're watching this podcast or listening to it, you don't have to. Your business does not have to be in Fuquay-Varina to be a member of the chamber. We take businesses from all over the place, but ideally, we would want every single business in the town our chamber's in to be invested, to be with us. So that's kind of a surprising fact because people go, oh, I thought you would have had a large percentage. And we are working on that. I mean, that's always a goal. But for those that are listening or watching and you're like, I probably need to get involved in the chamber, they want to up our percentage level, like, come on in, we'll take you over here. But that kind of shocked me when I actually looked into it.
Yeah, and it's fascinating, and there's a lot of ways, obviously, to get connected with the chamber, and with that, with so many different social media channels now and platforms, what are some of the best ways that folks who are interested either learn more about the chamber or want to keep up with what you're doing can connect with you?
Yeah, so one, I tell people all the time, this is the funny, when people come in, Facebook, people go, I do not like that platform. I'm like, well, we're looking at it from the lens of not what you personally like, we're talking about business. And so you should have a business Facebook page. So you will find us on Facebook because we want to be around the businesses. And so definitely follow us on Facebook, Fuquay-Varina Chamber on Facebook. Just started up our YouTube page, that's Fuquay-Varina Chamber. You can find us there as well. Hopefully the podcast will be there, more videos. We're trying to do a little bit more than just photos, so that's why we moved to doing YouTube. You'll find us on Instagram, Twitter, or X, is what it's called now. You'll find us there. I've dropped off a little bit on that just because it doesn't get as much traction as I wanted it to, but we are there. So if people search for us, it'll take them to the places I'm talking about. And then LinkedIn. We do about 1 to 2 posts a week on LinkedIn for that business community that's there to be like, oh, okay, the chamber has a big event coming up, or we post photos there so people can see and hear and watch that story as they're thinking about either joining the chamber or what the impact is. So you can find us on those platforms, or those are our main ones right now, and our website, fuquay-varina.com as well.
Yeah, so a lot of ways to follow up, get connected, learn more about what's going on. So for folks out there who maybe haven't been as active as they'd like to be, or for somebody who's new and is like, hey, I'd like to go see what one of these events are like, are there any events either coming up in the near term or just in general that you have on a regular basis you would encourage somebody to come and check out?
Yeah, so a three-pronged approach. I tell everybody, ribbon cuttings, breakfast, and the after hour. So those are, every month we do those. I tell people that you do not have to be a member to go to a ribbon cutting, a breakfast, or after hours. And if you go to multiple, I'm going to be like, hey, I need you to join. But we want people to try it out. So if you're listening to the podcast, watching this, I personally invite you to come check it out. If you're like, oh, these 3 guys sitting in the room, they're blowing smoke, that doesn't actually happen there, then I just challenge you to come to an event. If I see you the way I am, I'm going to come up to you. If I can get to you, I'm going to come up to you and introduce myself, and then hopefully introduce you to some other people. And so we are training our ambassadors, our board members, all the volunteers to introduce people and not just ignore someone that they do come. But check it out and see. I think that's a real educational piece for the chamber, is for people to see before maybe they buy. So you get to test it out and see, are these people actually nice? Is it actual value? But I think if you just go right now and look at our social media, I mean, pictures and videos, like us in the sports terminology, the ball don't lie. Our pictures and videos don't lie. Our numbers and stats don't lie. So check us out. But really, outside of all stats and figures, if anybody can understand the chamber right now, what we're focused on is relationships and not numbers. Like, numbers are great. I want to tell people that, but at the end of the day, relationships will trump everything. They conquer everything, and that gets more people into your business. And if we can do that, then I'm happy, and I feel like that's a successful chamber.
Yeah, and I know, Marty, you've hosted a after hours. I've hosted a breakfast, and I would agree. That doesn't lie. When you get that many people, 40, 50, 60 plus people, one, to see your business, to connect and network with each other, it really is a great time.
It is a great time, and being able to, just yesterday I was able to get a couple of connections with at a ribbon cutting to future business connections. So it those small little conversations lead to the next business opportunity for all of us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so Dustin, we're excited, one, to have you on as the first inaugural guest on the Better Together podcast. Thanks so much for your time and sharing some of your insights and your experiences. Excited for folks to not only hear your stories, but now connect it to finding ways to get involved with the Chamber here in Fuquay.
Yeah, and thanks for leading this podcast. I really appreciate it. I think this is going to be another way, again, for people to know that there are real people behind those doors. They're not robots. These are actual people that live, work, and play in our community, and they're out here doing really good work. And so that way they get to know who you all are, too. So I appreciate it.
So there's absolutely no artificial intelligence involved.
Not right now.
I promise. So, hey, thank you to our listeners for checking in with us each week on the Better Together podcast from the Fuquay-Varina Chamber of Commerce here in the Dashmore conference room. So, I look forward to seeing everyone for the next show. And we are Better Together. And I'm Marty.
And I'm Brad.
And we are
Better Together.
We're better together. It's a weekly podcast. We're better together. You should know that there's more in the dash. We're better together. Fuquay-Varina Chamber of Commerce. We're Better Together podcast.